Let's make this happen. We're making history, all right? So we got Mr. Shawn Gillette. Excuse me, we got Father Byrne here on set. He wants to lead a prayer. If you got somebody next to you, hold their hand, touch their shoulder. We family now. It's been 5 days. Y'all know each other. Y'all got each other on Instagram.
Try and circle up. Try and make it go all the way around the group. There we go. Put your hand back. You can make the whole circle.
There we go.
Circle it all the way up.
Everybody, hold the hand. Hold the hand.
It's all the way connected.
All right, and
wait, yep.
Everybody connected. All right.
Connect up to Mr. Red here, and then you made it all the way around. Reach around, reach around.
There we go. Nice. I love it.
Okay. All right, Shawn's gonna give a squeeze to that hand, and we're gonna watch it go all the way around in silence. Ready? Bless us. Strong squeeze. Did it come back to you, Shawn?
Yes, sir.
We felt it this time, people. Bless this production. You all began in a circle. Here you are on the way to finishing in a circle. Circle of creation, of love, of authenticity, of meaning. Bless everybody on this film, and may the film have long legs and open eyes and change minds and make the world a better place. Onward and upward.
Amen.
Sight unseen.
Let's do it, y'all. Amen. Amen. Let's go. Let's go.
Good evening. All right, that was good. That was good. That was good. Welcome and thank you all for being here tonight. It really means something special to see this room filled with community, family, friends, supporters who believe in storytelling that honors where we come from. My name is Milliner, and I have the honor and privilege of being your moderator tonight. I've known Shawn for over 20 years now, since up Hayes, all his loyal men, going back all the way to our days of playing football for the Harlem Jets. You heard. Over the years, I had the chance not only to watch his journey, but to be part of several films, and I can honestly say I'm proud of the filmmaker and the man he's become. Watching someone stay committed to telling stories rooted in community, memory, and truth is something special. Tonight is especially meaningful because we're here to celebrate The Sight Unseen, which is a 19 film created by Wilson-Antoine. This film reflects something powerful, not just a moment in history, but a story that has lived inside a family and a neighborhood for over 50 years. And tonight, we all get to experience it together. Now, before we begin the program, I also want to encourage everyone here to continue supporting this film beyond tonight. That means there's merchandise available that directly supports the film's outreach and continued life, helping to bring this story to more communities, schools, and audiences across the country. Your support helps keep independent storytelling like this alive and moving forward. We also have some very special guests with us this evening. It's my honor to introduce them in the following order. First, please join me in welcoming Mary Folk of St. Mary's Church in Harlem. You want to come on up? You want to say a few words? Thank you.
Just St. Mary's is a little church on 126th Street across from the precinct. We serve the community, and we are excited to be here to support this film and be part of this uncovering. I think in Christian scripture, we have in Matthew 10, it says, everything that is covered will be revealed. And I think what's been revealed in our nation recently has been pretty ugly. And I'm excited to be here to talk about Revelation in a beautiful, beautiful way. So you're all beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Following Mary, we have Niles Robinson on behalf of Assemblyman Jordan Wright.
I'll be very quick. You know, I haven't known Shawn for as long as the gentleman right here. I met Shawn while he was working on Kingdom down on 116th Street. Shout out Honcho, shout out Kev. And, you know, one thing I would like to just recognize about Shawn is that he is the dream, if you want to be honest with you. You know, he is the living embodiment showing that Harlem is alive and well, and we are prospering and flourishing. And thank you, sir, for having us all here. And I'm happy to be sharing in your dream with you. Thank you. And on behalf of Assemblyman Jordan Wright, he couldn't make it here. I would like to also present this citation to Shawn as well, just on thanks and behalf of the community.
Thank you, Niles. And next, it is my honor to welcome the Honorable Senator Cordell Cleare.
Like my shirt? They've got lots of them downstairs. It is my absolute honor to be here today, and I apologize for my dress. You know, I started my day with the launch of Harlem Little League, woo! And supporting our young people, but it's really an honor to be here today. Shawn, you know, you're like me. I always run into you in the street. And I love that, and you know, it's not just you. I want to congratulate yourself, the Wilson family, the Antoine family, all your supporters, and you know, really, I know what it is to have strong mothers behind us, and I know she's so proud, and to see this day come. You know, Barack Obama said, you can change the world by sharing your story. And that has never been so true. This story, though I haven't seen it yet, it's full of hope and full of faith and full of community and family. And those stories often bring hope to others. And, you know, I saw Sister Mary, you know, I'm familiar with St. Mary's Church. And, you know, that's a church of action, always has been. Father Earl Cooper Kemp and we stood on many picket and protest lines together. So I'm just glad to see that y'all are still supporting things like this. And I gotta say this, I was reading through the program and I saw, this is like, I regard him as my nephew. He never even told me, but I saw Jared Kemp in here. And it just speaks to how, you know, you just embody community. And that's what it's all about. We all come together. So I, too, brought you, and I'm not going to read it. I brought something for you today. But I want to present it to you. I got here a little early. And I just want to present this to you. I know this is going to be a blessing to our community. I know this is going to light a light in someone's heart. You never know what the work you do, how it impacts other people. So I know this is going to be a tremendous effort for you. Thank you so much for doing it. And I have a proclamation here for you. Yeah. And I just want to ask my colleague, District Leader William Allen. District Leader William Allen, please come up and help me present this.
Zimbe Balagan, are you here? Nope. All right. Are y'all ready to watch the film? Y'all gonna have to wait a little bit. We got some words from the filmmaker himself, Wilson-Antoine.
First of all, God is good. And all the time. First of all, y'all look amazing. I just want to say that. I told everybody dress formal, look nice. This is a special night, right? And I'd be remiss not to thank all the people that supported me in this journey. First, I want to thank Northwestern University for taking a shot on a kid from Harlem and giving him a full ride to get his master's. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. All right. Secondly, I'd like to thank the New York Amsterdam News. I grew up right on 123rd Street, 2 blocks away on 8th Avenue from this place, and I didn't know how connected my family was to this institution, and I'm just so grateful for the folks over at the Amsterdam News, Miss Eleanor Tatum, just taking on a shot from a kid from Harlem right down the block and just allowing us to be in that space and retelling this story. It's an incredible institution, and we must make sure that that landmark is supported and loved by us. So I'm incredibly thankful for them. Secondly, I'd like to thank 99 Products. I want to just make a comment about them. Mr. Jeff Henderson isn't here today. He's actually in China. But I had a crazy idea. I said we'd be the first film production to be sponsored by a sneaker company. And we did that. Many of our cast and crew actually got a pair of sneakers for working on this film. I didn't have a ton of money to pay them, but I was like, I'm gonna make sure that we show this at the biggest venue, and I'm gonna make sure y'all look good and look fly. So thank you to 99 Products. Yes. Next, I'd like to thank the Maisels Documentary Center. Albert Maisels is a pioneer in the filmmaking space. I've been inspired by cinema verite since I started documentary film, and they're also an institution here in Harlem that have given me so many opportunities to not only show my work, but to go and watch some incredible filmmakers. And they were our fiscal sponsor. Many of you who supported actually ended up getting a tax write-off from them, so shout out to Maisels. They made sure that this film not only was made, but also we added a second screening because this one did sell out. So we have another sold-out show tomorrow at Maisels. So shout out to them. Next, I want to just move on to the people that allowed y'all to be here in this space. West Harlem, DC, an incredible space that's allowing the community to be so connected to these huge mega institutions. I think I applied maybe like 3 or 4 times to get this space, and I was like, I'd be damned if I don't keep applying because this community needs to be here. So shout out to West Harlem, DC. They made sure this happened. And in that applications, I tried to apply, spoke to all the community boards, people throughout the community, and nobody was trying to make sure that this film was getting even an opportunity to be shown here. But since this is a faith-based film, and I'll share my testimony shortly after thanking everybody, the one space that allowed us to partner with them was St. Mary's Church in Harlem. So I'm incredibly thankful for y'all. I love y'all. Y'all welcomed me. Y'all allowed me to speak with y'all. I was just showing up, and I was like, man, if they feel what I feel after making this film, then there'll be some connectivity there. And I thank y'all for allowing me to partner with y'all and bringing this to Harlem. Thank you. Yes, and obviously we got to thank Columbia University and the Lee Bollinger Forum. Their team has been incredible working with us. Stephanie has been incredible making sure that this is the most professional event we could possibly do for the neighborhood. Also, I have to thank our food sponsors. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the food. Chef Charles, who knew me since I was a kid. I used to go to the buffet when he had that. Manners, the Parks family. And Setapani's, I knew Siam and his family since we were youth football players. They came through and they said, we got you. So I'm forever thankful for y'all. And thank you for making sure everybody was well fed. Thank you. Yes, so, you know, I just want to start on how I even came to knowing about this story. I was playing college football. Me and Calvin were at the University of Rhode Island. And I got a call from my mother saying, we need to go down south to Reedsville, North Carolina, because my great aunt Sarah was sick in the hospital. She was suffering from pneumonia. And although her body was weak and sick, her mind was there. She could have a full-blown conversation. She knew everything about sports, football, how I'm doing, how's Rhode Island. And my mother had left, and it was just me and my aunt. And she said, Shawn, how's Rhode Island? What are you up to? And then she went on to say, did your mother tell you about this story where she was a miracle child? I said, my mother never told me this. Tell me a little bit more. And she goes in to tell me about this glowing cross that appeared in the Bronx in 1971 and how it affected her directly and her husband. And you'll see in the film what I mean by that. And it was the most incredible story that I'd never heard. My mom, I knew her my whole life. She never told me about this. Look, and in that, I had always had this idea, like one day I may tell this film. Who knows, right? Y'all know me for years. I did 19 films by now. I'm like, man, if I come to it. And one of my classmates said, Shawn, you need to make that your thesis film. And I said, I'd only make that film if I find this newspaper that my mother said a journalist took a photo of her. I said, it's the only way I'm gonna do this project. So I spent a month in the Schomburg Center looking for this newspaper every day, coming up with nothing. And then one day I went when I wasn't even supposed to be there, and I found this article written by this brother named Melvin Tapley, who wrote a fantastic article. If the Tapley's family is here, can y'all just please stand up? I know we have some of his family members. Thank you, y'all. And, you know, somebody asked me, someone with press earlier said, why is it so important for black press? And I had thought about that as I was making this film, but the most important thing that came to mind is why it's important for us to tell our stories. And Melvin Tapley wrote this fantastic article that was somewhat, I believe, through my research, was a rebuttal to an article written by the New York Times, where he actually interviewed people in the community, and he didn't denounce the glowing cross. He didn't say, oh, it was the glass or something fake. He ended the story saying that this is beyond our apprehension, so if any of our readers have a reason to why this has happened, we'd be happy to listen. And that inspired me to do this film. It inspired me to have a meeting with Mr. Jared Kemp, the first guy I met with once I found the article, and I said, I got this idea, so I'm thankful for you, bro. And just so many incredible folks have contributed to this film. Like, I mean, we employed over 60 people from this community. We raised over $30,000 in 3 weeks. It's incredible. And, you know, I want to definitely thank all the cast and crew. We're going to celebrate all night. I don't want to be too long-winded, Cal. But, you know, this film is a testament to what happens when we all work together. Harlem is the mecca of black culture. We set the standard. Us all work. I mean, I'm just so amazed. My words haven't even come together to say how incredible it is to see all of y'all. But to see everybody in this room, it's a dream come true. I was telling somebody earlier, this is not my event, this is our event. I like to look at myself as the conduit of bringing everybody together. I know so many amazing people that do so many amazing things, and I always want us to try to find ways to work together. I love y'all. Lastly, Voice of Harlem said something when we premiered at the Schomburg Center 3 years ago. We sold out the Schomburg. My man's Gumby was there on the stage with us, and Voice of Harlem said this: if Harlem loves it, the world will love it. So I hope y'all love this film. Thank you, and I love y'all.
Y'all ready? Let's do it. Woo, 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 woo. If you guys want to stay seated for the Q&A. Q&A will begin shortly. Give it another round of applause. I'm gonna ask the actors, Kemp, Sherrell, Shawn, and Sharon to come to the Q&A.
Check, check. There we go. All right. Where's my mom? There we go.
Hold on.
You did amazing. Nah, I love you, bro. You getting emotional?
I almost shut it.
Yeah. Y'all down. Oh, I gotta give you a hug. I need to give you a hug, Mom. Can I say one thing before we start?
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, so I waited to shout out my mom because I wanted y'all to see the story. I didn't want to give it away. But, Mom, this was one of the most incredible journeys this last year working with you on this. The last 2 years. You never told me this story, but I truly do believe that Melvin Tapley writing this story, you holding it back from telling me, it was all a part of this master plan of us making this film. So I'm incredibly grateful for you. I love you. I'm so proud to have you as a producer, executive producer, writer, everything on this. I love you, okay?
Thank you, son.
And just before I even started making this film, I took a road trip down to North Carolina. My family has been in this small town in Reedsville for over darn near 150 years. And once I discovered the article, met with Jared, I went down there and I went to the gravesite of some of my family members who are depicted in this film. And I said, I'm gonna do this. I need y'all to pour into me. And I've been saying, some of y'all knew me for years when I was playing football since I was young. I've been saying ancestors' wildest dreams. And this was an honor and a tribute to depict my grandmother, my mother, my auntie, my uncle Leroy, who passed away. And the aunt who told me this story, the reason why she told me it was because that was her husband that passed away. And my Aunt Sarah, God rest her soul, you know, obviously this film wouldn't have happened without you, Ma, but if Aunt Sarah never told me that story, this would have never happened. So thank you, Aunt Sarah. I know I have some of my family in the crowd. Could y'all just raise your hand if you blood related to me? I love y'all. Thank y'all for being here. Yes. And, you know, I'm so proud of all the people that worked on this film, from pre-production, production, post-production. So many folks who I grew up with, who I'm so incredibly inspired by. But can everybody that was a part of this film, either in it or worked on it, can y'all just stand up and can we give a round of applause to them, please? You can stand. I mean, I've worked with some of y'all on so many films. Marshall is my guy. Where's Coop at? Coop is my guy.
Yeah, Coop.
Shout out to Coop. Anytime I got an idea, Coop is the first person like, let's shoot, when we starting. But I love you, bro. Thank you for being a part of this, Kingdom, and many more stories. Everyone that's been a part of this film, I don't just talk smack. I really do mean it. We're going to continue to work together. I already got more projects I'm cooking up. Some of y'all have already worked with me on multiple projects. Like, we always say Netflix needs to come to us, all that. Like, they'll come after we do the work. Let's continue to do the work. I love y'all, and we are so incredibly talented.
You ready for the Q&A?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, perfect. Now, I'll start off with the first question. Shawn, the film was based in 1971. At that time period, that was the end of the civil rights era. That was Vietnam. How did you sort of portray and paint the entire world, like landscape at that time period, the world of 1971 and the black family?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, 1971, you were 6 years old, so I definitely wasn't thought about. But I'll be honest, when I thought of 1971, I watch a lot of movies. I'm a documentary filmmaker, so I'm always doing research. Melvin Tapley wrote such an incredible article, and it's on my website. I believe on the QR code, you can also find it, where he actually spoke to folks through that community. And I wanted to start with, how do these people speak and what are they talking about? And as I was writing this, I drew parallels with Melvin Tapley interviewing those in the community with the same way I was going about my interviews to learn more about this. So I tried to position myself in that world. When I was working on Kingdom, I was so grateful to do an interview with Brother Gumby up here, and we were actually, we shot the whole film mostly in his apartment in Foster Projects. And Gumby's apartment, they've had that since the 50s, right? They've had that apartment since the 50s, and the building where this actually happened has been destroyed shortly after the Glowing Cross in the Bronx. And Gumby's house, which felt like a home to me, was covered with his family photos. And I told Gumby, I'm gonna shoot a movie one day in here. And that home felt like the 70s. It felt real. And when I thought about the black family and how we choose to construct this, my grandfather was present. He was married to my grandmother. They were on the verge of somewhat of a divorce, and a glowing cross appears in their house. And all of these things were layered in the experience of what I thought 1971 black family looked like, some of these things they might have been facing in their communities. And yeah, I just tried to paint as best a picture I could, but I also, who was it? Miss Aaliyah Benson's grandmother, I think, was on set. Yes. And one thing, right before we shot our first scene at the apartment, she said, "You need the grease for that hot comb." So I was during this project, I was listening to everybody. Anybody that was older than me, even people my age, I was open to ideas, and everybody kept pouring into it, and that's why we were able to create such a beautiful portrait of 1971's Bronx and Harlem.
Right. Now, I'm moving to the next question. Oh, round of applause, eh? Now, the cross, you see it in the beginning of the film, but you don't really see it, You see it through people's eyes. You see it through the glasses, you see it through their eyes. How did you decide when to show the cross and if not to show it at all?
Yeah, I'll be brief with that. Through my interviews, we had interviewed some folks. My auntie Essie, where you at, Essie? Is Essie still here? Essie, yes. Please, can we give a round of applause to my auntie Essie? So after I had already filmed the film, my Uncle Tony told me, "Yo, you need to go speak to Essie." She was with all of them, and I didn't even know this, that she was the same age as all those that were depicted, all the adults, my uncle, my grandfather, my grandmother at that time. And she spoke about because she lived in the building with the glowing cross. So she remembers all these folks, and she remembers seeing it. And everybody I spoke to, when they spoke about this glowing cross, they described it differently. They described that their ability even to look at it was so different. So working with Piers, my VFX artist, you can raise your hand.
It's the man.
I told Piers, and me and Piers worked together on The Penguin, and I was like, everybody describes the cross as looking differently. I was like, can we get it looking different in everybody's eyes? So when y'all do see the film again, you'll notice that the cross is actually a different cross in each person's eyes. And that was just the littlest details that just tried to make this film as layered as possible. So incredibly grateful for you, Piers. Like, you made that happen, so thank you, bro.
Thank you, Piers. Mama Antoine, this one is for you. Now, in the film, you talk about tucking this away, like just forgetting about it, Yeah. How was it to sort of relive this moment that happened 50 years ago?
It's incredible. It's incredible. Basically, it was something that I didn't talk about. Some of my closest friends that's sitting in the audience, who knew me for over 40-something years, 40 plus, they came to me and they asked me, he said, why haven't you ever told me about this? I said, because it's something I chose not to talk about. I mean, some people, if you would have told them, sometimes people don't believe things that you say. So this is something that I just buried, basically, until my son came to me and asked me, why didn't you tell me? And my auntie told him. He was like, oh, go ask your mom, you know? And so he did. And then I just gave him everything that I remembered. And I remembered everything, trust me, because it was scary. As a 6-year-old and seeing something like that, and that's something that you'll never forget.
That's true. That's true. Now, Jared, the journalist.
Yes, sir. What's going on?
The journalist.
Can we give it up for Jared, y'all?
Give it up for Jared. Thank you.
The Steers loved you in that film. I ain't gonna lie.
Yo, listen, man. Listen, me and Shawn gonna have a talk, man. Have me run. And that y'all only saw one take. We did that like 7 times, man.
Okay. Now, I want to jump into Mel Tapley, you know. So when you look at Mel Tapley, there's this story. There's this article, you know, but there's not much else, you know. You feel me? There's the article and you as an actor.
Yeah.
How did you kind of put yourself in his shoes as a journalist to tell this story?
Yeah, man. Shout out to Melvin's family who's in the building tonight. Seriously. His granddaughter Imani came to set, and like, you know, I was nervous. This is my first time playing somebody who this is my first biopic technically, playing somebody who actually lived. So I wanted to make sure that I was doing Melvin justice, and you know, she gave me the blessing. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm doing the right thing. But yeah, Melvin was really kind of elusive. Like, there's not really a bunch about him online. I really was just going off of a picture of him, and kind of channeling my grandfather. My grandfather helped make Hamilton Terrace a historical landmark, so my grandfather has a lot of history up in Harlem. And Shawn had also sent me a film, a brilliant film called Medium Cool, that was basically about a journalist going and interviewing people, and it just really allowed me to drop into, you know, as a journalist, the people you're interviewing, you don't know how they're gonna react to you. Like, you know, like Miles shout out Miles, where Miles at, man? He did a phenomenal job, man. You know, just like, you don't know if people are gonna be adversarial to you. Like, why are you asking these questions? Why are you coming in our neighborhood? Who are you? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're just a guy walking around with a notepad, you know? So yeah, that really helped me. That film really helped me get into it, into the interrogative spirit of being a journalist. You know, like a lot of Melvin is really, all his questions are very direct. You know, even that scene with Chris is like, man, yeah, I used to be a gangbanger, and Melvin is like, yeah, cool, man, what about the cross? You know? Because it's like, you're here to get information. You're here to get the story right. So I think that really tied everything together. And I want to say something, and I'm gonna shut up. Shawn and I met like 8 years ago at Maisel. We met at the theater that's sponsoring this event with Sultan, who's the producer, who was organizing the film festival. Sultan, raise your hand, man. Yo. So I really like, man, it's giving me chills when I talk about it. But like, the timing of this film is really impeccable. Even Mama Sharon, it's like, Shawn, you knew Shawn your whole life, and you know, and it's like, and now you're just giving him this story, and thank you for pulling from your memory to you know, and articulating your memory so well. Shawn was able to write it, and we were able to make this film. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. Thank you.
Sherrell, that was an amazing performance, stellar. but also, yeah.
Thank you.
Round of applause.
Yeah.
It also was an extremely delicate role, intimate, and you handled it extremely well.
Thank you.
I want to know what inspired you to take on this role, and what did you see in it when Shawn first threw it at you?
What inspired me to take on this role, be honest with you, was a job. So I was more than blessed.
That's right.
I was more than blessed. But I'm just going to be 100 with you. I keep it always 100 with you. What I love is when Shawn called me and told me that I got the role, he was like, oh, by the way, you weren't my first choice. And I was like, oh, I wasn't? He's like, no, my mom chose you. And I was like, shout out to Mama Sharon, all right? I will say this much. He gave me his mother's phone number, and I mentioned this in an interview earlier, that from the time I called her, we stayed on the phone. I don't know what night it was. I was supposed to go to the gym, never made it, because our conversation was so long. And we talked about how close her mother and her relationship was, you know, down to her favorite nail polish color, which was red, and how elegant she was, the perfume she wore. And when you hear those things, you just get those ingredients, you kind of like, I could stir up the pot. It led me back to my own family. I have my grandfather's sister who, when I even got the pictures, you sent me pictures of your mom. And I related those photos, and I said, oh, I know who this is. I get an idea of where I'm going with this. But just from the conversation of how close you were, reminds me of me and my mom, how close we were in our, you know, our relationship. And I said, oh, this is a tribute to your mom.
Yes.
And you could just feel the love and the respect and the honor and all of that. So I just wanted to make sure I did you justice with that.
You did. You did.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I do want to tell a little side note. I'm gonna be real with you. Shawn is so lovely and sweet. He goes, you're gonna be a star. I got that script. I was like, man, this thing is long. I got 6 lines. I was just saying to Ricardo, another actor, and a friend of mine, my girlfriend Bernice, and I said, man, you know, after the second day, I was like, all right, well, all right, Shawn, thank you so much. Thank you. He got me for 4 days, but after 2 days, my lines was done. So I said, Shawn, I just want to thank you. This was a wonderful opportunity, you know, shoot my shot for the next film. You know, keep me in mind. Oh, you want to stick around? Oh, I can stick around, but Shawn, I said my 6 or 7 lines, so I'm done technically, you know what I mean? He looked at me and was like, yeah, we got you for 4, we're gonna need you for more. I was like, oh, okay. So I didn't realize how prominent I was in the film until just now.
And one last thing, both of these actors, like, they didn't want to see the film until it came out, so I'm just so grateful they waited. I was like, it's going to be beautiful. I was like, y'all deserve y'all flowers. So if anybody here is thinking about a movie, making a movie, please cast them. They are terrific to work with.
Thank you.
Incredibly great. Thank you, bro.
All right, we'll open up the QA. If you have questions, there are mics. Raise your hand, okay.
Yeah, you just raise your hand.
Raise
We'll
your
have
hand.
some folks pass the microphones around.
Okay.
Yes, the staff is, and can you give it up to our volunteers and staff? They help make this happen, please, y'all. Yes, and a huge shout out to our event coordinator, Miss Naomi, for handling this and making this happen. Thank you, Naomi. Yes. All right. And Naomi, can we grab and then hand off the mics? Yeah, we can take it off. Yeah, so people don't gotta keep walking. Thank you. Thank you, bro.
Now you're good, bro. You're good.
You could pass it. Yeah, if you have a question, just raise your hand, and then they'll bring the mic up to you guys.
Hi, my name is Afisa Nettles, and actually I've worked in black media forever, you know, similar to the Amsterdam News. This movie was amazing. Historically, Jared, God bless you. But
Thank you,
Mom in the movie, God bless you. But what I really love about it is that some of the things that you mentioned, today we're still going through some of the same things. It's just fast forwarding to this century. But the most beautiful thing to me is the love of the media, the love of the story, sight unseen. People saw what they saw. What I saw was, thank you for putting black media back in the front. Amen.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Leroy Weber. I'm a family member to Miles Walker, one of the actors in the movie. I just had a couple of observances. The dynamic between you two guys when you guys are standing against the wall looking at the cross was amazing. That's number one.
Thank you, brother.
Mom, I thought you were Tashina Arnold a couple of times. I almost ran up on you a couple of times. A couple of times before, I almost ran up on you, and the movie was great. I just want to say that, I'm 52 years old, and this was, I was born in the 70s. Everything was time period correct as far as the dress, the way the apartment looked. That's something that was very important. If you're gonna do something like this, a time period, that was amazing. That was very good.
Shout out.
Yeah, and the cigarette, the way somebody's holding the cigarette.
Shout out.
That's important. That's
Really
important.
quick. Shout out Corey.
Corey, yes, who was
did the
our
costume man.
Yeah,
Where
head
you
of
at, Corey?
wardrobe.
Yeah,
Corey,
man.
yes.
Yes, man.
And also, we also got to shout out our production designer, Ish. Where you at, Ish? Ish, stand up, Ish.
Here we go.
My God. Yeah.
Shout out Kiana and Jada too.
Yes. Shout out, yes. And then we also, with Jared's hair.
Yeah, she laid my hair back.
Miss Kiana. Yeah.
It did.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Jada was head of makeup. She did the,
Yes. Miss Antoine, is that correct? This way? Hi. How are you? Hi. Good. Nice. Hi. My name is Charlize. So Shawn likes to mention always that my mother and you taught at a school together.
Well, no, your mom was at Harper Morningside
Yes.
when I was there. So
Yes.
My mom was one of the,
Yes. So I just want to say thank you for sharing that story with him so that he could create this.
You're quite welcome.
Yes, this
Thank
is
you.
special. After 19 films, he created this.
Yes, he did.
Very special. So, Shawn, my question for you is, after 19 films, we needed to see the sight unseen. So what made you produce this?
Yeah, Sight Unseen was this crazy idea while I was in grad school. I had seen all these foreign filmmakers that came to speak to us, and I was like, what do they make? I was so confused. But in doing such, I learned that there's no real rules to anything. I was like, there's no way to tell a film. You just make it, and then you explain it after, and if people like it, they like it. But with the Sight Unseen, I saw this incredible opportunity that after years of me making 18 films, this is the 19th, I was like, I got all these people that could help me make this. Like, this is an opportunity to connect the dots. So that was the biggest task, was how do I position and ask the right people that know the next person so that we could all come together and make it happen. And that's why this had to be my 19th film, The Sight Unseen. Not because, like, it was my thesis film, but because all my professors were saying, this is very ambitious. And I was like, well, yeah, I got to do this because, like, why not, right? I know the people, I know my community, and like I told them, I said, my people gonna show up. I was like, just grade me, but like, don't worry about it. We got this. My neighborhood got me. So that's why the Sight Unseen was so important. And it definitely positions it at the top of all my works because I worked with all my friends. I worked with my mother. I honored my ancestors. I honored a pioneer that should get more credit than Melvin Tapley. So that's why Sight Unseen.
Peace, Shawn. I'm over here, right here.
Can you stand up. We can. It's a lot of people.
First, I just wanted to say congratulations.
Thank you, brother.
it was a beautiful film. And as I was watching it, one of the things that it made me think about is how important it is for a director to have his own voice. And it was one of the things that I noticed as I was watching. And I love the way that you blended the narrative film with the documentary. And I'm curious if you would be interested in making this like a feature or like, expanding it and, touching more on like some of your family members and their personal relationships and like how you talked about your aunt and her husband that passed and expanding that. I would like to see that. So.
Yeah, I'd love to turn it into a feature. There's so many different ways and folks we could talk about, like Melvin Tapley. And just a brief thing on Melvin Tapley, the only stuff if you Google that you'll usually find is that he's a cartoonist. He's one of the most prolific black cartoonists in history. And in your brochure, you'll see more about him. But there's so much layers to that. And even my family, like my Aunt Sarah, she has a story about being one of the first black women college basketball players. Like, it's so many layers that I would like to go into. But ultimately, I couldn't make this film with the hopes of making it longer. I had to make the best possible film with the resources we had because there's no guarantee when somebody will help us raise more money. And I felt like I had just enough to get what I needed in. And that's why people told me make it 15, 20 minutes. I was like, nah, we could make this 40. Like, we got the resources. So that's why I pushed it to 40. It was a tough process of making it, but I'd love to extend it. So if y'all know anybody that's like, yo, we want to make this longer, please.
Hey, what's going on, Shawn? Yo, Shawn, how you doing? My name is James Sasante. I've known Shawn for about, I think, 15 years now.
Yeah, since freshman year of high school. Yeah.
Since freshman year of high school. I used to sit behind him in U.S. history. So my question, it's more of a statement. First, I love the film, amazing. Knowing you from when we was younger to now, extreme amazing. What got you into storytelling? Outside of telling a story about Harlem, your neighborhood, your family, what was your spiritual connection to that transition? Because sitting behind you, I'm like, oh, he's a football guy, he's doing it. And then to now, we sit in the auditorium, all our families, friends, peoples. I'm like, wow, so, yeah.
Yeah, shout out to my Hayes brother, Up Hayes. We got a lot of Hayesmen here. Yes. We got a lot of Hayesmen here, see? And, I've always loved history. I started editing like highlight tapes when I was in high school, but filmmaking came apart because when I got injured in football my freshman year, after having an amazing offseason, I ended up at a Black Lives Matter protest in Union Square. And then I ended up I've just started filming these interactions between these white folks downtown and these high school black students. And this is 2015, so this is not 2020 when it was cool to be with the Black Lives Matter movement. This is like, whoa, I don't know, right? And I went back to my PWI, University of Rhode Island, with the footage, and this guy was like, yo, what you working on? He was like, you should make a documentary with the footage he saw. Like, I was just showing him. And I was like, I don't know how to do that. And that was a Monday. I showed him. 4 days later, he showed me how to use Adobe Premiere, and I put the video on Facebook called The Movement. And then in one night, my boy EB, he saw the video, and he was like, yo, that video you put up on Facebook got like 25,000 views, and it was about the Black Lives Matter movement. And that prompted me to get invited. My godmother, my auntie came with me to Yale University because they invited me to show that. And I was like, oh, I can make a movie. And then a couple months later, I was like, all right, this is it. This is that easy. And then my boy Calvin and me went to India right after that. And I just was like, let me just keep filming stuff. Like, people was interested. And since then, that's what prompted me. I was just like, there's not enough people telling our own stories in our neighborhood. And I was like, if I'm making something, at least I could at least be biased to make us look good and try to at least have us involved in these cinematic opportunities of storytelling. So that's how I started. And yeah, I'm grateful to still be with Cal 20 years later, having you in the room with me. Like, this is a blessing.
How you doing, Shawn? My name is Victor Streety. First of all, I want to say this movie was excellent. I mean, it was great. I'm an actor, so watching all of you, I can tell that you guys were all superb. You were superb. I came here unexpectedly. My son follows you, and he asked, can he come on the set? And
Yeah, he was on set with us. Yep.
right,
He was on set.
So he invited me out, and I came, and then I didn't know that my godson Corey is part of this too.
Hey.
So I mean, it was just excellent when and then I taught math in school. I haven't taught in like 11 years, and this young lady, I just ran into her when we used to teach together. I mean, everything is just pulling full circle. I just want to tell you guys did a great job. It was excellent. Shawn, I'm looking forward to doing work with you, man.
Yes, sir.
All right?
Absolutely.
It was excellent.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's my best friend.
Over here, Shawn. Shawn, over here.
Oh, there we go. Let's stop left.
Tom Lucas, Corey Lucas's father, the costume designer.
Yes, sir.
Shawn, this was great. This was great. I'm so happy to be here. That's number one. Number two, I'm 7 years old at 1971. My question is to Ma Wilson. I grew up in Harlem. I'm in Harlem in 1971. I got family in the Bronx, a lot of family. This is the first time ever hearing about this story. So my question is to Ma. As the movie was going on, and due to the fact your apartment wasn't the only apartment that had the cross, going by what I saw in the movie.
Yes.
My question to you, Ma, is this. I want to know, I know the New York Times wrote it up, and it was negative, going by what I heard in the movie, right? Amsterdam News, Tap family, did great. But my question is, how far did it go, media-wise, since it was showing up in different places? In the city and I guess other parts of the states, other states, I'm assuming. So I want to know how big. Did CNN get it?
As you know, I was 6 years old, so.
Right.
But just from my mother telling me, I knew the Amsterdam News came out and did an extensive story on us and the Times. And as I got older, I literally went down to the library on Fifth Avenue to see if I could find that article. And my mom had it in a briefcase in our apartment when we lived on Manhattan Avenue, and when we moved to Harlem. But it was hard to find because it got misplaced. You pick up, you throw away, you pick up. So when I was searching for it, then I just gave up looking for it. But I remember it, seeing it, when you're young, your mom pull it out and show other people. But as I got older, it disappeared.
So you don't remember ever hitting the news, 11 o'clock news?
Listen, at 11 o'clock at 6 years old,
Whoa.
I was not up. I was asleep. I was asleep at 8 o'clock at night.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot,
My brother could contest to it. At 8 o'clock was my bedtime.
Okay.
I had my 2 fingers in my mouth. I was asleep.
That's right. Okay. Thank you very much, Shawn. Great
You're
work,
quite
man.
welcome.
Great
Thank
work.
you, bro.
Hi. I had a quick question. So, your Aunt Sarah, your mom, and a slew of all your beloved aunts and uncles were your living archives. You've rectified the importance of what gets lost when stories aren't passed down instead of being documented. So, what were the strengths and limitations of that?
Yeah, one of the, I had to look at everything in this as like, how do I do it? Couldn't think of what I have. I had to just be grateful for what was available. So, right now we don't look at like oral histories and people talking about history as like a prominent source of information. And I had to lean into that because I was like, no, this is just as important as somebody that decided to write about it. So I had to lean into that. But I also had to kind of like, I was sending Jared these notes and I'd be like, yo, can you do narration on this? Because I had to become, for lack of words, like I had to have this feeling of like, I'm Melvin Tapley in 1971. Like, how would he report on this? And then I'd send it to Jared. I was like, yo, can you do this voiceover? I think this would be, and I would send him like a whole bunch. I'd be like, yo, just freestyle even a little bit. But this is where I'm at with it. So I had to lean into that. And my family has some archives. I'm very fortunate that like we have some historians in the family that throughout this project and this process, I was able to go deep into like my family's foundational Black American history, going back over 200 years in this country. And I have photos of like my great-great-great-grandfather now. And all of that was inspiration in this. Is like, how do I tap in with them, whichever way that means. And yeah, it was, archives is what you have. It ain't nothing you're gonna do about it, especially when people have passed away. But what you can do is try to build this world. Like Calvin asked, how you be 1971, how do you build that? I had to act like I was in 1971. Like, how'd they talk? Where'd they live? Where they going? All of those type of things. So that's what I tried to do my best with. And yeah, like, I'm sure I'm gonna probably even after this, like I interviewed my auntie Essie after the movie. There's so much more I'm gonna continue to find in this process. So I'm definitely grateful for what's available.
What's going on, Shawn? My name is Jason. Congrats again on the work. This felt truly very original, authentic, and real, which is something that you should all be incredibly proud of, because Hollywood has this trend of reusing the same story, right? We've seen that time and time again. You handled the challenge of unveiling trauma, right? And there's a scale of trauma, but you did that and you uncovered the beautiful, beautiful story that you were able to depict. So I want to go behind the veil. What was one of the hardest obstacles that you had to overcome, and what'd you do? And then what's something that we don't see that happens behind the scenes, i.e. 7 laps up and down the stairs?
I'll answer.
2-part.
Where's Malik at? Malik, where you at? Malik Beth. So Malik, shout out to Malik. He played my grandfather in the film.
Yeah.
Yes.
LaGuardia, stand up, LaGuardia, yeah. Yeah, you heard? My boy.
Malik, funny story. I was doing so much research, and as y'all seen, I wear a lot of hats. My mother was like, we didn't talk too much about my grandfather. And I was like, hold up. We gotta have a Black father who was married to my grandmother in the film. Like, I was like, that has to happen. So I wrote him into the film like maybe a week and a half before we started production. And there was one scene that, this is quite unbelievable, but all the actors, I tried to only have one hair and one makeup person, so everybody wasn't gonna be ready at the same time. We only had Miss Sherrell and Malik at the same time. And I told Josh, I said, Josh, I don't care who's ready, let's just have them on set, we're gonna shoot a scene, we're gonna improv. And I called my mom up, I said, Ma, at this time, my grandfather and my grandmother were at the verge of divorce when the glowing cross appeared. I said, they might have argued by it. And my mom got on the phone. I said, Ma, can you lead them on what arguments might have been on? And we'll probably release the BTS of this week. Sherrell was on speaker with Malik in a room with my mom, and my mom was guiding them. And then we just allowed the actors to just become the characters, become my grandfather and my grandmother. And that was a moment where I was on set. There was only one moment in this whole film that made me cry. And I was watching at the monitor, and I only met my grandfather one time in my life, but I was like, that's my grandfather right there. And that was an incredible moment, and just the power of what cinema and just memory that can be pulled back when you put the right people in positions. And Sherrell, Malik, I undoubtedly know that my grandfather and my grandmother are just so proud. And my grandfather would be damned if he wasn't in this film, so he found his way in.
Hello. Good evening, everybody. My name is Jamel Wright. I've had the privilege of knowing the brothers on stage, Miss Wilson, Miss Antoine. I haven't met the actors yet, and I know so many people in the crowd. My question is more so about the title itself, being that you're a creator, Calvin, all of your journeys. Like I said, I've known you guys for so long. Speak to what does it really mean to be sight unseen and having faith, not necessarily just in your religion, but faith in yourself and believing and doing things that you don't necessarily know what the challenge is, but still going above and beyond to accomplish your goals and your dreams. If everyone could speak a little word about that, but just like you said, you didn't even know what this movie was about before you even seen it, but just speak about what it really means to have faith and really believing in sight unseen.
Yeah, I'll let Miss Sherrell, you can start about the sight unseen, or any of y'all, Sherrell or Jared.
Okay, that's an interesting one. To have faith. I'll say this much. I mentioned it earlier in my interview. I am a Christian myself, and What I found to be so interesting when Miss Sharon was telling me about her sighting of the cross as a child, to me, I can remember. I go back to when I was a child, and I remember having a strong sense of my faith as a child, whether it be my prayer life with the Lord or anything that I was going through. I had him step into many situations when I was younger that I just knew it was him. So I keep in mind, as the older I get, I had the faith of the mustard seed as a child. And when I have moments of doubt now, I think back to how he's carried me from then on. And I think back how you had that experience as a young child as well. So to me, in a sense, faith carries you. And you have to keep that faith. We go through like ups and downs in life and whatnot, but like it's the, like I said, faith of a mustard seed. If you keep that, remember that, stick with that, the Lord will bring you through. So, right.
Oh man. Yeah, I would say, just like I elaborated on before, the timing of this film is like really impeccable. You know, you can't. There are certain things that you can't orchestrate yourself. That is like coming from somewhere else. I think this film. I think just making this film was a testament to that. You know, and Shawn's faith in this film, like people telling him to make it shorter, to make it 15 minutes, and Shawn was like, "No, I believe that this film needs to be 40 minutes. I believe that I can get this done. I believe that I can find the team to do it." So I think this film is a tangible evidence of seeing your faith prosper. So that's what I would say.
Well, I'd like to thank God. For me, it's just a lot of diversity that every family goes through, but we was raised in faith. My brother, who's here, can testify to that. My grandfather was a pastor, plus a Mason, Eastern Star. My mother, a Mason. I was an Eastern Star, so was my grandmother. So we was raised in faith. Prayer meant a lot and still means a lot to us. So it's just something that we have been raised with, these values, and I raised my children with the same values. You plant that seed, it will never go away. And even if you stray away, you will always come back. So, yes, The Sight Unseen was just a title that he told me about. I said, it's a perfect title.
Yeah, for me, make was like my favorite part. I know some filmmakers be like, "Oh, it's so hard." I'd be like, "No, I love it." And as soon as I told her the name, I was like, "Ma, this name goes crazy." I was like, "Sight Unseen." But no, it's a play on words. It's like, you know, sight and then unseen. It's like you can't see, but it's like a vision, right? This was a sight unseen, telling everybody like, "Yo, I'm gonna get everybody in my neighborhood in one auditorium, and we're gonna watch this film together. I'm gonna put together this cast, this crew. I'm gonna raise this money." All of that was a sight unseen until it's seen, and that's what I was aiming for. So.
She's ready.
Hey, Shawn. My name's Jordan. I'm Jared's godbrother.
What's going on?
First of all, I wanted to say this was such a powerful film, and this is my first exposure to your work, but I promise it won't be the last. My question more so you had referenced creating 19 films. I wanted to know, knowing what you know now, if you could go back and talk to little Shawn, at film number 1, or any of like the younger brothers and sisters looking at this film and saying, "Hey, I want to be a director one day." What's one piece of advice you'd give them?
Yeah, the one piece of advice I'd tell younger Shawn is keep putting the work out there. Stay confident. Like, don't listen to anybody that's doubting you, or listen to the doubters, but be like, "I want to prove you wrong," right? And anybody that's known me here from the football days, I'd say what I want to do, and then I'd do my best to accomplish it. And even with filmmaking, I tried to bring that same tenacity and belief in myself was, yo, why not you? Believe in yourself. And more importantly, like, do what everybody else is supposed to be doing. People that should be putting us together and putting us in the same room, be the one that does it and don't complain about it. Don't talk smack about it if you're not going to do anything. So that's what I say to any filmmakers that are here. When so many incredible filmmakers I know that are here, like, keep putting the work out. Like, that's what's most important. And people, if you do the right work and you do it in an honorable way, people will revisit it and they'll support you. So that's what I'd say to any filmmaker. Just put the work out there and just keep making stuff.
Hello. Hey, Shawn.
What's up? That's our first AD, my boy Josh.
Hey, hey. Thank you. This is real quick question. First off, thank you for sharing, and it came together beautifully. Can you please talk about the editing of the film, because you sort of have the family story and the journalism arc, and I think it comes together very nicely. So just talk about how it came together. And I also know as the AD that we kept filming. So those extra scenes, how did those come together? You know.
Yeah, big shout out also, my boy Dave is here, my other DP, all these. Dave. My boy Dave, there we go. Yeah. I did something really crazy on this project where I said I'm gonna have 2 DPs work together because we all Harlem and it's one Harlem, one love. Like, we gotta all work together. So they're incredibly talented. But the editing process was crazy though, Josh. I wouldn't lie to you. I had to, after we shot the film about a year ago, around March or April, I had to edit it in 2 months. I slept in the lab for I think 4 days at Northwestern, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna edit this film. I had to come up with some ideas because I had so much material. But I also was like, man, what's my favorite movies? And I'm gonna give you just a little bit about that. My favorite movie is Forrest Gump, and then the other one is Curious Case of Benjamin Button. And and in those films, they have this such a unique way of I think it's Robert Zemeckis. He wrote Forrest Gump, but he does this thing where they have like this guy sitting on a bench and he's retelling the story and they're doing reenactments. And I was like, but what if I could do that in documentary filmmaking, right? And I was like, Ma, we're gonna do this interview, hold back. I didn't want to even record her until I was like, till we're rolling the camera. But I was like, if she hits these right notes and these beats, then it'll be able to match up with what we shot. And we shot her interview first, and then I tried to, before I even edited her interview, I was like, I knew what happened in her story, and most importantly, it was like, we need to get this coverage. And some folks here that worked with me on TV shows, like, I done been on The Penguin, The Blacklist, I done watched all these directors, and working with you, Josh, like, you know I like to shoot a lot. I'm like in a TV filmmaking process, not a movie style, more TV. And I'm just like, I need to get coverage because I know what I can edit with if I have more material. And when I was editing this project, I was just like, what is my mom's story? Jared kept telling me, because he didn't want to watch the film, he was like, keep bringing it back to your mom. Keep bringing it back to your mom. Keep bringing it back to your mom. And that's how I wanted to start the film. That's how I wanted to end it. And that was the root of it, is a woman retelling this story, not with all this trauma that everybody wanted me to say, because I was like, my mom is chilling. She's not like, she ain't crying, like, but she just remembers what all the adults were doing, right? She's a child looking up at everybody while all this stuff is happening. And that's how I wanted to lean into the editing process, is here's her retelling the story, and here's Melvin Tapley giving us the journalistic, answering all these questions about what the community was saying. And I just wanted to bounce back and forth between that. But once again, I just wanted to really end it on like my mother saying how we even came to this. It came because I asked her what happened, and that's how I decided to edit the film.
That's it, everybody. Thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you, y'all.
And, tomorrow we'll be at Mazel's Documentary Center on 125th in Lenox, 127th in Lenox. But thank you, everybody, for coming out.
Thank you.
Please buy the merch.